Welcome back, everybody, to Richard White Global. Rich here. Who is now the 2026 best state in the United States of America? Let's get into it. Could it be the sunny beaches of California, the Golden Coast? Could it be the beautiful sandy beaches of Florida? Could it be the beautiful mountains of Washington? What about the great state of New York, the new Mandami world? Could he took them to the top of the mountain? What about my Buckeye state? How did they do? Did they break the top 10 this year? What about the oil capital of Texas, big Texas? Did they make it? Or did Utah repeat, the Beehive State? Let's find out. So the report came out this week based on U.S. News. They're considered one of the premier reporting media for rankings every year. They're kind of like what I would say, the Farmer's Almanac of state and local rankings, et cetera. They're pretty well publicized for this and reputable in that situation. It's bipartisan. It's not really political either way. So they base their overall rankings on so many metrics, about 71 metrics overall. But the main ones we'll talk about is healthcare, education, their economy, their fiscal responsibility, basically how responsible are they? How well do they manage their money, not just the money they already have, and how's it going to be going forward? Opportunity, that's a kind of a wide open term right there. Crime and corrections, etc. Their natural environment, obviously for environmentalists, it's a big deal. So, also based on taxes, overall tax burden, which we're going to talk about and get into as well. Do you live in the right state financially? Do you want to live somewhere else and not really sure how they're really going to bill you or charge you if you do go there based on what you hear, in the media or vacation or, just indoctrination of where you should live. But, what's it really going to cost you? Well, we're going to talk about all that today. And also, please like and subscribe. If you have any more ideas or leave some comments on that, I'd love to get into this stuff. I like the facts and figures and kind of get to the meat of these subjects. So without further ado, let's get to number 10. The great state of Vermont. So they are number 10 this year. They're actually down 3. They were ranked number 7 in 2025. So how did they change? Why did they drop? It's got a very young, strong, vibrant opportunity. They're a very equitable state for the most part. They're pretty much left-leaning. We'll, talk a little bit about that, and we get into some metrics when it talks about finances, etc. So a little bit of data on number 10, Vermont. You're looking at about an effective property tax rate of about 51%. So you might as well say 1.5%. And we're going to talk about the average numbers today. A lot of this based on a $400,000 home. That's just an even number across the board. It just makes it easier to deal with kind of comparison. So based on that, you're looking at about $6,040 a year on a $400,000 home, $503 a month. It's overall highly ranked, very low crime. Beautiful state, never been to it. I've been to about 36, 37 states. I've not been up there yet. But, there is overall, though, here's the catch-all. You get sold on a lot of metrics, property taxes, sales tax, the great states that have no income tax, etc. Well, that's just not always true. So, like I said, Vermont, you're looking at their taxes, they're actually overall tax burden. You're looking at about 1.51% on property taxes, but you're also looking, the big killer is the overall number in Vermont is 11.1% overall tax burden. By far, I'll give you a hint, they're by far the highest taxed in the top 10. So just let you know it's going to go down from there. So that's the downside of Vermont. Your overall tax based on property tax, income tax, sales tax on average income, healthcare, etc. 11.1%. So you're paying dearly for that. Number 9, the great state of Washington. They come in number 9 this year. They're up 1. They were number 10 last year. So, there again, it's a beautiful state. I've been there. They've got some issues. I mean, there again, that's a pretty blue state. They've got some crime issues that, I tell you what, it's one of the most beautiful states in the country I've been to. They're super high tech. I mean, you're looking at so many corporate headquarters out there, Silicon Valley type stuff, major cost of living, though. You're talking really freaking expensive homes. The average home in Washington this year, $603,000. That's the average home. Compared to number 10, Vermont, the average home in Vermont currently is $402,000 homes. So then you're looking at an overall tax burden in the state of Washington, though, is it's actually 8.47%. So that's your overall, basically what you're going to give the state of Washington some way, shape, or form, if that makes sense. Not counting federal taxes. So you're looking about an overall burden of about 8.48% or 7% taxes in the state of Washington. So there again, if you like rain, you're going to get that about every day out there, at least some misting. You're going to look at approximately about $3,000 a year in property taxes on a $400,000 home. So they do have some favorable property tax rates. But overall, remember, that's where they get you. Property tax, the bottom line is you can only spend one type of dollar, your net income. You can't spend gross income, you spend net income. So that's where the tax burden comes into play. Don't go somewhere just thinking, hey, they've got no property tax or no sales taxes or, whatever. The bottom line is the tax burden is the bottom line net number. That's what people don't ever really look at like they should. Okay, number 8, the great state of Florida, not the retirement. It's not the free state of Florida, folks. That's a political stance, and I'm a Republican conservative, and it's not a free state of Florida. That's just, there's taxes. There might not be any income tax, but they have extremely high property taxes, extremely high homeowners insurance for obviously weather reasons. 2026, they're ranked number 8. They're actually down 2. They were number 6 last year in 2025. There again, home prices are skyrocketing. There is a lot of vacancies in Florida, though, right now, just because of so many people that are leaving the state because some people have returned where they came from after COVID. Everybody flooded in there. But, there's also the extremely high property homeowners insurance, like I said. Property taxes, you're still looking, in the state of Florida, you're looking about an average of a $400,000 home in Florida, $3,120 a year property taxes. That's the average home in Florida, $378,000 a year currently. But they're getting homeowners insurance. It's in the top 4 or 5 in homeowners insurance. They pay as much a month as I pay a year in Ohio. I can just tell you that from research I've done. Even though they don't have any state property taxes. So it's, there again, overall tax burden though, they're still very friendly. Overall tax burden, 6.27% tax burden. Like I said, that doesn't count like homeowners insurance and stuff like that. These are taxes. So trust me, when you do the research on homeowners insurance, you're going to be shell-shocked. Texas, Oklahoma, California, Florida, because of weather, tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, big bucks. So consider that. Number 7 is the great state of potatoes. Idaho. Number 7 this year. They were number 3 last year. They actually had a big slide, which is surprising. They were down 4 this year. They've had some big declines in some categories. Property taxes are going up quite a bit in Idaho because so many people flooded in there, leaving high-taxed states. A lot of blue states that are really high taxes there, they're flooding into there. So overall, though, beautiful country, beautiful weather. Overall tax burden, though, in Idaho, 7.04%. So basically 7% overall tax burden. Idaho houses, you're looking at an average of about $2,000 a year for a $400,000 home. Average current home in Idaho is about $482,000. So it's not, the average home is a little above $400,000. So I'm guessing, about $2,500 a year would be your average home property taxes, for an average price home in the state of Idaho. Again, good location, great, beautiful country, mountains, streams, lakes, etc. Great access to other states. It's exploding state. It really is. Again, the overall tax burden, though, in the state of Idaho is 7%. So That's pretty good. You're looking about an average, like I said, $2,000 a year for a $400,000 home, which is $167 a month. Number 6, New Hampshire, another state I've not been to. Hope to someday. Number 6 ranking this year. It's actually down 4 as well. It was number 2 in 2025. It still has a big growth advantage. One of the biggest selling points of New Hampshire is it's considered one of the safest states in the country. Extremely safe. They just do a great job of public safety. Even though it's a blue state, it's not the kind of blue state like New York, California, et cetera, or Minnesota, where they just kind of let you just free-range chickens with crime and let you go. No one else to say. They're ranked number 1 in crime and corrections. And yeah, it's a blue state, and they are. They're moderate blue, I guess you would say. Overall tax burden in New Hampshire, you ready for this one? 5.38%. I'll give you a hint. They're number 1 in tax burden overall. 5.38 overall tax burden in New Hampshire. I mean, someplace to think about. Beautiful country. Everybody's told me it's been there. Property taxes. That's a big one. Average property taxes in New Hampshire on a $400,000 house is $6,000. So average house in New Hampshire currently is $523,000. So you're looking, between $6,500, $7,000 a year is the average property taxes probably in the state in New Hampshire. Again, extremely safe, beautiful country up there. Everybody says, all 4 seasons, you're by the water, etc. But property taxes are really high. That makes up for their other low taxes they have. I think that's another state that has no income taxes, I believe. Number 5, as we get into it, the great state of Nebraska. They are consistent too. Number 5 last year, number 5 this year in your hearts. So Nebraska, one of them states, you just don't think about. Cornhuskers, just, God's country out there. So, it's unchanged. It's a little state that people don't think much about, and not a super high populated state. It's farm country like Kansas, etc. Remains strong economically. Now you're getting the top 5. You're talking about strong infrastructure and strong stability when it comes to finances. So let's get into the other metrics on this. So in Nebraska currently, you're looking at average property taxes, again, $400,000, is $5,760 a year. So it's pretty high property taxes. An average house, though, in Nebraska is only $285,000. So the average homeowner in Nebraska, is getting a good deal if you're getting that $300,000. The homes are much, much cheaper there. So there again, it's not a tourist state. It's God's country. It's farm country. It's not the beach. And I know I live in Ohio. So there's a reason. Average property taxes in Utah, again, about $480 a month overall is what they're at on a $400,000 home. Number 4, the great state of North Dakota. Number 4 this year, big change. They're up 8 this year. They were 12th last year. What changed? I mean, there's getting a big influence of people moving in there from other states. Politically, very economical to live. I mean, when it comes to property and stuff. Now, you better have a winter coat because it's going to get mighty freaking cold. You're going to see what snow looks like if you're not used to it. The weather's the deterring part. Terrible winter weather. Beautiful country in the summer. The Badlands and stuff like that. A lot of great hiking and camping. If you want to see the wild animals, Indian territory, etc. They have. A $400,000 home, you're looking at about $3,680 a year, $307 a month on, like I said, $400,000. So you're still looking at the average home in Nebraska, though, North Dakota is $294, so just a smidge above Nebraska. So that makes it economical if you want to buy a home. So let's get into the top 3. Here we go. Coming in at number 3, down 1 from last year of number 4. The great state of Minnesota. Governor Walt's land for not much longer. Thank goodness. Coming in number 3. Beautiful state. I mean, you got the 10,000 lakes. Facts are, folks, it's actually much higher than 10,000. I think last time I looked, it was like 12 or 15,000. It's actually the real number. It's not a fake thing. It's real. It's a beautiful country. Again, you might want to buy a winter coat. You're going to need it. They've got great infrastructure financially. They've got great health care, one of the best health cares in the country. Very high education, public education, very highly rated. They've got a low tax state, $400,000 home, averages about $4,000 a year. Property taxes $333 a month. Hopefully some stuff can get changed up there, in the near future to get the crime down that we've seen. Currently, you're looking at about, like I said, $3,000 a year property taxes on $400,000 home. But the average home, $4,000 a year on a $400,000 home. But the average home in Minnesota is $357,000. So it's creeping up a little bit from Nebraska, North Dakota. Still below $400,000 though. You're still looking about $357,000, and you'll have room to buy a well fur-lined winter coat. You're going to need that. But get your fishing poles out. You can fish about everywhere you want to go. Again, let's get into number 2, the great state of South Dakota. Absolutely. So another state I've not been to. I'm going to get to these. So it is up 6. It was number 2 this year from number 8 last year. Again, a lot of cost of homes, et cetera, there are people, plus a lot of jobs. There were some things that changed, with the governor paying people big money and stuff to move into that state to get some jobs in there a couple years ago, if you remember that. They were reciprocating a lot of people's jobs and certifications, et cetera, to get them in there. They were, giving you the credit there without having to go through that whole thing and start over. Again, they have great health care in that state, which that's a common thing with these top states. Economy is really good, and they got a lot of opportunity because there were so many jobs that are available. Overall tax burden in South Dakota, 6.38%. So basically, almost 6.5%. You're going to write a check somewhere to the state of South Dakota for your taxes. So there again, we're getting into that number. So coming in number 1. It's not the Buckeye State. Sorry to bust your bubble. Although if anybody who thought it was probably not doing much research. Number 1, 2026. And for the 4th year in a row, the Beehive State of Utah. Go Utes. No change. Number 1 again. Again, 4 years in a row. Number 1 state in the country overall. The only downside they have at all is their environmental. And that's simply because they get a lot of smog there and they get a lot of haze that comes in from some of the fires that drift out from the west, from California, et cetera. And it's that valley and they don't have a lot of water there. So they do get that haze. I mean, I know my daughter lives there. And I spend a lot of time there. It's a beautiful state I would have never thought about. Very strong economy. They're number 2 in economy, number 2 in fiscal stability. They just simply manage their money well. I don't care what party you're in. They just do. Number 6 in education. Number 7 in crime and corrections. So they're right in the top 10 on crime as well. That's another state where you commit a crime, you go to jail, you stay there. Utah has the one big weakness, like I said. They're number 48, though, in environmental. And that's simply because the smoke, the mountain, and the haze. It's just it's just their climate there. It's dry, humid, and they do get that haze. But when it clears up, the mountains are beautiful. Property taxes, folks. That's the kicker I like. Property taxes in Utah, $400,000 home, $1,920 a year. Not even $2,000. Extremely low property taxes based on your home. Average home price in Utah, $542,000. It has skyrocketed the last few years. Just ask people there. A lot of Californication coming in there. A lot of people moving in from other states and stuff. Nebraska, or not Nebraska, but Nevada and stuff moving in there. But the biggest ones are like Washington State and California, bringing that money, driving those homes up, wanting out of that state and the politics and the high cost of those two states. I've heard a lot of people say, please don't California-ize Utah. Again, the Beehive State comes in number 1 overall. Property taxes are dirt cheap. They got an overall tax burden of 8.87%. Overall 8. Now let's get into that metric. So, there again, before we do that, where'd the Buckeye State come in? For all you OHIO. Well, this year, number 42. 2025, 38. The Buckeye State is down 4. Why? I mean, I can tell you the facts and figures, but, massive economy here. It's number one in business opportunity in the nation, folks. It is. It's a great Midwestern state, right in the middle of kind of everything. It is biggest universities and some of the biggest universities in the country. You can get almost anywhere in this country you want to go. I think it's like a 2-hour flight in any direction from Columbus to like 40% of the United States and Canadian population from Columbus. You can drive like 8 hours in any direction to those same places. So it really is the center of the country. Problem is, it's a flyover state. That's just what it is. You either live here, visit family, or you fly over it. It's just a fact. There's not much tourism here. You've got sporting events come in for the Buckeyes, Browns, and Bengals games, hockey games, and they leave. It is what it is. You got 4 seasons, and sometimes you get all of them in one day, all year round. I have mowed grass and plowed snow the next day. Yes. It's big on professional sports, a lot of movie theaters. You got some parks. The weather is terrible year round. It's so inconsistent. Taxes, property taxes in Ohio, S-U-C-K, suck. They're freaking terrible. Property taxes in Ohio, average property taxes a year, $400,000 home, $5,440 a year. Average home, though, in Ohio is only $252,000. Bottom line is there's not a lot of demand to live here, folks. Other than a job, there's no demand to live here. Trust me. If it wasn't for my family, I'd already be gone. I'm retired now. But I'm here for my family, my grandkids. Other than that, I'd be gone. It's like we say about the great state up north. We don't use the M word here, but like if you're from there, that the best part of being from there, that means you're not there. And it's kind of the same thing here in Ohio. I hate to say it. I used to laugh and joke when Columbus had its 200th anniversary as city employees, we used to joke and say 200 years and still nothing to do. When the football, baseball, basketball game's over, well, that's it. You want to go to the movies? You want to go out to eat? Or do you want to go somewhere else on vacation? So, high property taxes. It's ridiculous. I think we're like the 7th highest property taxes in the nation. Overall, though, the overall tax burden in Ohio, that's the big one. That's the overall tax burden, 9.05%. So 9% of your paycheck, just sign it away to the state, local, or municipal government. It's ridiculously highest tax state. Hopefully that'll change in the future. So let's break it down. Out of the top 10 states, I didn't exclude Ohio because they're not top 10. But 6 out of the top 10 states in these categories this year are Republican-leaning states. 4 of the top 10 are Democratic-leaning states. Out of the 6 Republican states, overall average tax burden, 7.29%. Of the 4 of the top 10 Democratic-leaning states, overall tax burden, 8.51%. So you're writing another 1.5% check to every blue state on average for whatever it is. It's just a fact. We could further break it down. I can tell you that on the average property taxes, they're again based on $400,000 home. Of the 6 out of the 10 that come in that are red-leaning states, Republican, they pay an average of $3,413 a year on their property taxes. The four blue states out of the top 10 pay an average of $4,760 a month for just property taxes on the $400,000 home. Folks, that seems not like a big deal. I further broke it down. The difference between those two, that is a 40% difference up to live in one of the 4 Democratic states out of the top 10 versus the 6 top 10 Republican states. So as your house goes up, that number gets pretty freaking big. That's just based on a $400,000 home, and so you're looking at like I said, it's a sliding scale, so it just goes up. So it's still a 40% increase to live in those 4 blue states. So there you have it, folks. Like I said, I like these numbers. I like this metrics. It gives you more of an overall perspective of how these things really measure out, not just politically, even though politics does come into it a little bit when you look at the numbers, the healthcare, et cetera. So Let me know what your final thoughts are. What do you think about these rankings? Like I said, have any questions, leave them. Look forward to hearing. I know this is a little long video, but I kind of look forward to these each year when this metric comes out. They do the same thing with cities. Columbus, again, just came in itself, actually, is one of the top business cities in the whole nation because, well, Ohio comes in that way because of Columbus is the bottom line. So, again, anything you'd like to know, have any questions on there, I appreciate reaching out. Hit the like and subscribe button again. Richard White Global. Hope you have a great day, and it's football season. Go Bucks! Oh, go Steelers.